So it's 1, 4, 5, 1. Say that with me.
1, 4, 5, 1.
And then 4, 1, 5, 1. Together?
4, 1, 5, 1.
You can remember it as multi-digit numbers. You can say 1451.
1451.
4151.
4151.
Can you picture that?
No.
It's like memorizing a phone number at this point. You get 16 minutes of 16 bars of music and an 8-digit number. Okay, kind of a phone number. 1451.
1451.
4151.
4151.
All right, let's do it one more time. Picture the phone number. 1, 2, 3, go. Sneak in a little 5 chord at the end. One more time. Go. Minor again. Go. All right. Let's try something fancier. That much. Alright, I like your enthusiasm. D minor, again from A. Just like that. 3, go. Yeah, good. E major, same pattern, starting on low B. 3, go. Same thing. 3, go. A minor again. Go. Just turn again. All right, good. All right, so now. Step below each one of those A minor notes. 2, 3, go. Again, 3, go. Complicated. I feel like I should point out that it's most effective to picture the note that you're going to rather than the note you're starting on. So if I'm thinking, you know, or at least eventually I want to be able to automate my hand so that I go A, even though I'm starting on a G sharp. Does that make sense? This is A with something added onto it. It's almost like an organ. Now, we're going to do the opposite thing. We're going to come from above each note. Notice some of these are whole steps and some of them are half steps. That's because we're using the scale to take our notes from rather than just always half steps. So these are scalar neighbors. But you're still picturing. Okay? See if you can visualize that. A minor? Go. It's going to sound like this. Don't do that. All right. D minor, 3 and 4. test of how well you know the D minor arpeggio, you know, is if you can instantly recognize that F is the next note, then you can more quickly make that calculation, okay, what's the note above F, right? So this is all cumulative knowledge. So if you really know your D minor arpeggio, then you're ahead of the game. And of scales, you know, that just happen. You know, you can almost make a little gypsy jazz phrase out of that. But we don't think of it, this is why I'm doing this in gypsy jazz, we don't think of playing scales, we think of playing chords and neighbor tones and little enclosures around them, all right? So, you know, it's all very much oriented to the chord tones. All right, so that's why we're practicing this. So let's do this one more time. From there. Combine this with the lower neighbors. You do this pattern on every single chord tone. So a half step below each chord tone and a scale tone above. You can do a little ornament too. You guys all have ornaments coming out of your ears. So. Alright, so each one of these little enclosures, so this pattern, anything that kind of uses a chord tone as a milestone and then creates this little ion cloud of neighbor tones around it, like a bullseye, in jazz is called an enclosure. I referred to that yesterday. But it's huge in gypsy music and lots of other things. So, each one of these, this particular pattern I taught you is a measure long. In the chord changes of the tune, generally we have 2 bars per chord. So I want to get through the chord changes. Here comes D minor. Here comes E. A minor. D minor, A minor, E, A minor, E. Now we're at D minor. So I'm just kind of doing a big wave from the bottom to the top and back down again. Minor, I hope. And go. 4. 5. 4. Here's another concept. Okay, so let's say I start on an A chord. So I start on the note A and I want to work my way through the changes in the most simple and horizontal way possible, like the smoothest, just flow through the chords. All right, so my first note will be A. Can't go wrong, it's an A minor chord. When I get to the D minor chord, I want to find the nearest available note in D minor. So what is that? A. A, yes. A is the 5th. What's the nearest available note in the E chord?
G.
G sharp. Great. When I get to the A chord, back there. D chord, no problem. A chord. That's pretty minimal movement. All right. What if I could do the same drill starting on any chord tone in A? So I might start on C and get to the 4 chord. Where do I go? D. Or if I'm super hip, I could go to a B because it's a D minor 6. But let's say D for now. 5 chord. E, or since I know it's an E7, I can stay on the D. Somewhere in there, I get to the A minor. Go back to E. To me, it feels like it's pulling in that direction, so I would probably play a C personally. Now I get to the D minor chord. What's close? D. A minor. C. E. B. And it almost sounds like a melody already. All right, so I'm going to just play this. This is just a whole note kind of solo. So it's plaintive, it's simple, but I can build on this. Okay, so this will be the architecture, like the basic architecture of my solo. So now, in tempo, I might go 1, 2, 3, 4. When I get back to my core melody, I give it some extra love. There's the vocal sound, you know, and the rest of it is kind of, it's rhythmic and it's harmonic and it's showy, whatever. That's a different sound, but I'm making sure that you know, the conversation is really, this is my salient point. That's where I get the little bit of grease in there. Okay. So now we're going to add a scalar neighbor and upper neighbor to each one of these chord tones. And it's going to sound almost like music. All right, so scalar, the upper neighbor to C is D, obviously, so we're going to go for the A minor chord. Let's do it together. And for the D minor chord, our note is D, so we're going to start on E and then fall down, right? D for the E7 chord. We'll do the same thing. E to D. Our note is C, so we're going to go DC, right? Our note is D again, so we play an E. Our note is C. Our note is D. Like some people were playing B's over the D minor chord, which is legit, and then we were in third. It was really pretty. So now, we'll embellish this with a little descending arpeggio. Make sense? 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Great, keep going. enclosure like that? All of a sudden now we've got some music, but it's just the same couple of tools. Well, you know, obviously when you get them good, then you can mix and match and use your ear and allow your fingers to do the work. You know, when they're already in your fingers, you can still stay mostly in your right brain and do the intuitive kind of just I'm making up melodies things, which you guys are good at. And just having programmed some of this vocabulary, then you just use it. It's like, well, it's like spoken vocabulary. You know, when you learn it, you learn the definition, you know, write it down, use it in a sentence, whatever. You do all the stuff that you have to do in school learning vocabulary. And then one day you find yourself, you know, using the word discombobulated, you know, and going, "Oh, I sound smart." When was that made for you? Hopefully other people feel the same. All right, so now that you know what to listen for, we're listening for arpeggios, a kind of a core melody, a very simple core melody, very narrow band. Neighbor tones, enclosures. This is the bag of tricks. Now listen to Django's, you know, classic solo in minor string. And yet it's simple in the same way. You know, like now you're probably going, "Oh, is that all he's doing?" But it's still cool, you know. And he's doing it so much better than we are, but still, you know. But so just to take the first chorus and we can analyze it quickly. All right. So by repeating the A note, he's saying, okay, A is where it's at. This is that's the note we want to sing. What do we call that? An enclosure. Again, he's just enforcing, kind of establishing A. What's that? An arpeggio. It's just D minor 6. It goes back up. All right, so we now just got to the E7 chord, and he just had to change, just like we did when we get to the E7. Arpeggio, and he lands on A. It's a different A, but it's still A. So he's just going, okay, just like we did. E7 and minor, going on. And he jumps up to the D for the 4 chord, for the D minor chord. What's that? An enclosure. It's a little around B. So we've got one chord tone and another chord tone on the D minor 6. And now this. What's that? Yeah, it's neighbors. It's an enclosure.
Why would he be enclosing the B?
He's enclosing the A right now.
No, the one before.
All right, so this is a D minor 6, right?
Ah, 6, okay.
Yeah. So it's still valid. So he encloses the B and the A. All this lower kind of D string, G string stuff is kind of harmonic support that is kind of like a little side trip, and it's mostly arpeggios and a couple of neighbor tones. But he's getting back to the real pertinent information. There's a lower neighbor arpeggio, enclosure. That brings us to the E7 chord. Where am I? There's a little bit of an interesting enclosure around the G sharp. Enclosure around the A. So if you strip away all the details of the enclosures and the neighbor tones, there's not much else there. But what is there is very focused on this very narrow range.